we're on to Wave 5 of the Kenner Real Ghostbusters collection. Very excited because we're getting very interesting into the dynamics of this collection at this point. I usually start with the villains in the wave, but this one has some really interesting heroes, so I wanted to get to them right away. So we had fright features last time. Now we have screaming heroes. That's why I ain't afraid of no ghosts, but I'm going to scream when I see one. So we have the whole wave. This time, unlike the fright features, all the characters were issued at the same time. So we have the 4 plus Janine all at the same time this time. They're all going to have this fun little feature where they do an action and they have a scream that is brought on by their ghosts. So we're going to show you that dynamic in just a minute. What I want to point out is we have another contest or another mail-in feature here like we had with the previous ones. We had the Ghost Zapper, which had the second cartridge, if you recall that. I think that was back in wave, might have been wave 2 or wave 3 where we started getting that contest. You could see the image here, and we showed you what that second cartridge looks like. So you can go back and watch our video with the Ghost Zapper and the role playing from, I think we combined it all into wave 1, even though it wasn't until like wave 3 or 4. And then we had a second mail away. I think it was done through Toys R Us, and it was for this Real Ghostbusters watch. Now, the watch is lenticular. It has Bankman on it. It says who you're going to call. And you turn it, it says the Real Ghostbusters. And essentially, it was just digital timepiece. There's no way to really change the battery. It was all glued together. I think back then, we just assumed things would last forever. We just didn't care. But this is it. This was your mail away. It was this little purple watch. You probably have one if you collected these back then. So this was your mail away watch. So that was your second mail-in. The third mail-in is this fun little contest called Find the Ghosts. So you can see right here on the packaging, Find the Ghosts, an official Ghostbusters 2 uniform. And then on the back, you can see the full length of the contest. So essentially, they're calling it Geiga meter, which they misspelled Geiga for this. But the way it works is you had to find the ghost throughout New York City. All it's going to be is one of those little translucent red screens that you're going to run over a map and see if you could find the Scoleri brothers from Ghostbusters 2. And essentially what you win is this uniform. I think the company that made it was called Prosperity. It wasn't Kenner. It looked, it looks something like this. Yeah, we happen to have one. So it looks something like this. It had the Ghostbusters 2 logo here. It had the 2 on the sleeve. It was khaki, not the charcoal one. And on the back, it has kind of a quote. It says, "Back off, man, I'm a Ghostbuster," instead of "Back off, man, I'm a scientist," Venkman said. So that is their logo here. But it was a fun little kid-size jumpsuit, and it wasn't actually bad. I mean, particularly for back then, this is pretty spot on to looking like a costume jumpsuit. So this would have been great to role play with your Ecto Charger, which we'll get to eventually. But that was what you won, essentially, for finding the ghosts in the contest here. Or you could buy it. Like I said, I think Prosperity made it. And that was the costume back then. So you could buy the same one, but you could have won it for free. So I had to get this Winston here in package for 2 reasons. One, so we could try the contest and show you guys what it looked like to get the official Kenner Geiga meter and the map. And 2, it's really hard to find a fully functional Winston. A lot of people on eBay will say their Winston's functional, but they won't understand what that means. He actually has 2 scream features, not 1, like most of the other characters. So I'll show you that. Hopefully we'll get it to work. But you got to watch out for deceptive sellers or ignorant sellers that will just tell you things are 100% functional when they're not. So we'll show you what this means when we crack into Winston. But let's get into this really exciting wave. All right, so we got our characters here. Before I go into them, I want to show you basically the artwork. I didn't take a minute to show you that, but we have some really nice artwork from the Kenner hardbacks with each of these characters. And I just really appreciate what they used to do here. And it's great, and I'm glad they brought it back when Hasbro did the re-releases. But it's always amazing to see this card back work. And essentially what we got here is a bunch of characters with some accessories and ghosts, just like we've seen with all the other releases. This is the Ghoul Ghost. And then we have Peter with a trap and with some kind of thrower that's a little different than a standard thrower. So all you basically do is you wind up his arms here, take this ghost and you insert it into their touch point, and then you flick the switch. Oh, I have my hands catching on that. So he could hear the mechanism basically pushes the sound through here, and it makes it sound like a scream. So that is basically all it does. But that's it. It makes a little, as this thing hits as he turns, it makes the groaning noise. So that is essentially Peter here in this little unique outfit. Now they can bend at the legs, so you could sit them in some vehicles if you wanted to, and you'll see them featured in the artwork on boxes of other vehicles. As the waves matured, the characters featured were whatever was the current version of that character. So we kind of got that. Now moving on to Egon in the Squid Squeal Ghost, which looks like a squid here. He's all blue. Egon has he has his PKE meter. It's a different kind of exaggerated PKE meter. This little pocket laser thing. Now he's a little different. So he is going to twist. So basically, to prime him, you're going to spin him. And then we want to get his arms up nice and high because we don't want to interfere with the ghost that plugs into his, let's say, lower back, not his butt. And then you hit the switch. So you heard that scream function, essentially. But that is Egon's version of it. So completely different outfit for him. He's got a red on here, which kind of throws back to hit. You think about his pack in the first wave, and that was red. So his stream from the pack. So he's keeping with that color. Peter was green, so that doesn't match the yellow there. But this is kind of fun to throw it back to that. Again, his legs bend so you could see them in vehicles and whatnot. So that is him. So now we have Ray here. The Vermone Ghost. Quite a large one compared to the other ones here. And again, Ray is going to be a little different. The way you prime him is counterclockwise turn of the head, just like this here. And it tells you like a number, like 10. It says 10 for some reason. This one is going to plug in this way. It's a little heavier, so it can't plug in straight on. You don't want to hold them up when you do this, and you're going to try to not keep your hand in the way. Let's see if I could keep my hand out of the way while I do this. There we go. You heard him scream, and his arms pitched up. That was probably the best scream. Let's see if I get it. There we go. Let's do it one more time. Oh, you got to take the head. I'm sorry. You got to take the head out when you do it. I was going the wrong way. 4, 5, 6. I'm going to do 7. It says to do 10, but I'm going to do 7 here. It's feeling really tight. I don't want to break it. There we go. So you got a nice spin, and you heard that crazy yelling there. Sometimes you got to like reset these by turning them an extra couple cranks. Ray comes with this like plasma rifle thing. Just one accessory. He's one of 2 characters in this wave that comes with 1 accessory. He has this blue outfit. He could sit again, but he's kind of stuck in this, like, I can't put my arms down, thinking about Randy from Toy Story, like, phase here. And he's got the permanent scream on his face. So, interesting figure. So that is Ray. Next up, I'm going to skip and just do Janine. And she has Swine Wine, which is this red ghost. I had a little melting on this one, so apologies for the condition there. But he clips into her back. Now, she's another one that has 2 accessories, which you don't often see. A lot of people lost that second accessory. So what you will commonly see is her with her gun here, but she also has a phone, which does not stay in her hand very well. I put a little piece of tack in here, I call it. It's like the mounting putty to help it hold into the hand. She has a soft goods skirt, which you don't really see I don't think anywhere else in the wave other than Dracula, which we'll get to. He has a soft goods cape. But she's going to have a different feature. Similar to Egon, she's going to, you're going to turn her torso. But yeah, I kind of wonder, this one, yeah, okay. So this one, instead of the torso being the function here, it's the legs. It's the leg spin. Because you need to hold the torso to push the button. So the leg spin. And then you heard the little scream, essentially, from the Swinehine. She is a little difficult to balance, I want to say. She keeps falling over on me when I try to display her in a case. But yeah, and it's, like I said, impossible to get that phone to stay in her hand. But not a bad figure. Again, that phone is commonly lost, and surprise, the skirt is lost quite often too. I'm not sure why, but some people must have pulled it off the figure over time. But radically different design for her. I mean, each figure was. She came in the pink jumpsuit, essentially, which is close to her on-screen jumpsuit that we actually see her wear in the show. And then now she has this outfit with like a vest and then the skirt. So that is your Janine. So let's get to Winston. Winston, brand new out of package. I'm going to open him here. He comes with the Hound Howl, and then he comes with a green blaster, one accessory again, and then here we go. We have our Winston. So Winston, again, different radical design to him. He's wearing a gray outfit with his blue body armor, essentially. I'm going to put this in his hand here so you can see him with his accessory. And this is just kind of, reminds me of some of the Masters of the Universe weapons. The way this fits onto the character's arm doesn't really even want to fit onto that hand. I'm going to put it in the other hand because it just doesn't seem to want to go in there. So I'll put it in here. So this one, a little bit different. So we're going to be counterclockwise turning the head. And I'm hoping this works. I just took it out of the package. I didn't even test it. Right here. Okay. Now we're going to put the guy here on his back. And we're going to hit the button, see what happens. Well, nothing. Yo, I'm pushing it the wrong way. Let's move. Okay. Let's. Okay, I think we're at maximum turns here, so it's got to do something now. There we go. Yeah, it made the noise, but the feet aren't working. So what's supposed to happen is his feet are supposed to pop up and his head's supposed to turn. Oh, you're not supposed to wind him when he's in that thing. But there you go. You can hear him make his little sound, essentially, with the character. So that is this wave. And then again, sometimes you need to reset the head by doing that and maybe doing a little turn to get him facing whatever direction you want. There we go. But that is essentially it. And then again, the legs on this one are just really annoying. You kind of want to pitch them forward because they're meant to mechanically do that. So you got to kind of have to play around with them to get them to reset to be in the proper position. Otherwise, you're just kind of keep trying to pitch forward. And that's the problem with this figure. He doesn't stand well. But now you know why. It's because of that poor mechanic design that they try to get those feet in there. So it might be best to try to position him behind his little ghost if you want him to stand. Otherwise, he's not going to stand very well at all. And it doesn't matter if he's a fully functional or less functional one. Like the legs were always the problem with these guys. But that is essentially a Winston, not the gem of this particular wave. But you could see the fun feature all these guys had of having their little screaming capabilities and operating with their ghosts. And a lot of accessories for the most part, except for Ray and Winston got shortchanged for some reason. I'm not really sure why. But let me open up this amazing Geiger-meter so you can see what the official Kenner Geiger-meter looks like that came here in the package as part of the costume contest. All right, here we go. I took it out of the packaging. I have not tried it yet, so I don't know if this is a winner or not. But here we go. Here is your mail-in form telling you the official rules. And here is the official Kenner Geiger-meter. So we're basically find the ghosts. It's going to help him check the streets of New York, various locations to find the Scoleri brothers. So we have a courthouse, the art museum, the firehouse, and Central Park, and then the Statue of Liberty. Slime everywhere, all locations from Ghostbusters too. So this was a tie-in contest to the film. I'll make sure you can see this very well here. And now we're going to see if we can find our ghosts. We'll start with the courthouse. No win. It's got a little picture of scales and it says no win. Let's try over here. No win, and we can see the Ecto. Let's try the art museum. No win, and we can see a picture. I'm not sure what it looks like. Someone sitting. Okay, Statue of Liberty. No win. We get a little shield. And then lastly, Central Park. No win. And we have a duck. So I did not win this contest. I did not find the Scoleri brothers. I don't know what a winning one looks like, so I can't show you. I haven't really seen a lot of these online other than in the brand new package. So I'm sure these were lost or discarded. But I don't know. Does this count as an official Kenner product? because they label it as the Geiger meter. So it's kind of a weird thought that if you're being a completionist, maybe you want to grab one of these in a sealed package. So it was throughout this wave. It was the Screaming Heroes. I believe it was in with the monsters, and it was in some of the Super Fright features characters in the next wave. I think that was wave 7. So it continued on for a little bit. So yeah, I mean, if you want that and you think it's part of the collection, you better go grab one. They're getting harder and harder to find. But that is the map and the Kenner Geigermeter with an E as part of the Real Ghostbusters collection. We gave you a lot of food for thought here in part 1 of our Wave 5 coverage. We're going to have part 2, the Monsters line, that is part of this wave. We're going to be focusing on that. And part 3 will just be our wrap up. There's a couple vehicles continuing the Haunted Humans line, and then there's the what is that called? The Ghost Spooker, which is the electronic role-playing item that was from this wave. So we'll be checking all those out together. Yeah, I mean, they're fun. I love those vehicles, so I'm excited to get to those. The Monsters line, kind of a head scratcher, but I mean, everyone knows the Monsters. They're kind of like the Universal Monsters. They're all based on those, and since this was distributed through, I think through Universal, because it was Universal Studios, through Paramount and all that, Paramount Universal. Or it was Columbia Pictures, but it went to Universal. For some reason, at the time, I remember being at the park, they had the Ghostbusters show, and they had all sorts of merchandise and other things. So I guess they had the right to Universal Monsters, and that's how they were able to use them in the line, although they don't call them Universal Monsters, they just call them monster figures. But they are essentially like, the Wolfman, Dracula, Frankenstein, the Mummy. They added a zombie and a hunchback in there. A hunchback is one of the Universal monsters too. So they're featured in there in that wave, so they're kind of fun. And they're, some stronger opposition forces to the Ghostbusters. But this was your Screaming Heroes wave. So kind of interesting, a different direction for something that is not I Ain't Afraid of No Ghost, but they scream. So it was a fun little feature. Again, that Winston, very difficult, I guess, to find a fully functional Winston that kicks the feet up and spins his head like you see in the commercial, like it's pictured here on the card and on the card back of him showing the feature. But yeah, otherwise, all these characters can sit in vehicles. They could, hold an assortment of objects, but they don't have a hole in their back for the proton pack, so you can't put those on there. But they come with a ghost again. That's the standard. Is you get a Ghostbuster, you get a ghost with it. I think that was through the whole line. They always had them packaged with a ghost to bust. So you always got that. The other surprise that started in this wave is, of course, the Geiger meter and the little contest for winning this little gem if you wanted to win it instead of pay for it. Yeah, I mean, does this little piece of plastic count as an official Kenner role-playing item? Because it says it's the Geiger meter. But this is kind of fun. I'm glad I have this. And now I have this little piece of contest and this little fun ability to do it. I would like to see what a winning one looks like, just to see the Scoleri brothers drawn out by hand. So I wonder if there's any copies that exist online. I'll go take a look and see if I can find one. But yeah, that was it. That was your third contest. This was your second contest, and the second cartridge for the Ghost Finder, or Ghost Zapper, I'm sorry, was your first contest. So that was it. I don't think there were any more contests after this. I'll double check, but I think that was it. They stopped with contests. This was 1989. The line ended around, I think, 91. So we're almost at the end here. Although we have a lot more waves. So we have a very short wave in wave 6. There's only, I think, 2 new things in that. And then we have wave 7 getting back to some more new stuff. Wave 8. A completely different revamp with the Power Pack Heroes. Wave 9, a completely Hail Mary toss with the Slimed Heroes to tie into the Ghostbusters 2 movie. And then Wave 10, where they try to last-ditch effort to keep it going with the Ecto Glow, which was a really fun wave, and it had a lot of plans for the future, but it expired. And a lot of those ended up in bargain bins, which is kind of funny because they're the most expensive characters to get now. So that is all for this time. Of course, we're going to have more Real Ghostbusters continuing throughout the month, so keep tuning back. Like, subscribe, and follow. See you guys next time.